Meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren, ich begrüße Sie ganz herzlich zu Weltwoche Daily, die andere Sicht, Special, on the road könnte man sagen, auf dem Weg durch die Schweiz. Und ich habe hier einen ganz speziellen Gast neben mir. Und zwar handelt es sich um Stephen K. Bannon, den früheren Chefstrategen des Weißen Hauses, den Architekten des Wahlerfolgs von Donald Trump in den Vereinigten Staaten, und ich bin sehr stolz und froh, dass wir uns hier im Auto sehen können. Hello, Steve Bannon.
Hi, how you doing? By the way, I've spent my entire career over the last couple of years exactly not doing interviews like this, so it shows you how much I'm supportive of the Swiss People's Party and your paper. That I would actually, be talked into doing something I've avoided for so long.
Okay, I will translate that. Also Herr Bannon hat mir soeben gesagt, dass das also absolut, dass er sein Leben eigentlich damit dass er sein Leben eigentlich damit verbracht hat, solche Art von Interviews nicht zu geben, aber er mache das aus Sympathie für die Weltwoche. Now let me ask you the first question, Steve Bannon. Are you still on speaking terms with the hard left actor Sean Penn? Reden Sie eigentlich noch mit dem eher linksgerichteten Schauspieler Sean Penn?
Well, I was actually never on speaking terms with Sean Penn. The reason is I was the executive producer of a movie he did. The executive producer just makes sure the financing and distribution is in place. The producers actually make the movie. Although I'm very proud of the film, and I thought he did a terrific job. I think Sean Penn's a great film director. Indian Runner is a film I'm very proud to be associated with, but we're not, trust me, we were not buddies at the time, and we're certainly not buddies now.
Okay. Also das ist eben interessant, weil ich habe ihn gefragt, ob er mit dem Schauspieler Sean Penn noch redet, weil Penn ist ja bekanntlich ein eher linker Schauspieler. Und das Interessante ist eben, und das verbindet mich mit Steve Bannon, einem meiner ersten Filmkritiken, die ich geschrieben habe, das war eben über den Film Indian Runner, und das war das Regiedebüt des Schauspielers Sean Penn, und Stephen Bannon war da Teil eben des Produzententeams. Now, you have just come in from Italy. You have talked to people in Italy on the elections. What is the most interesting and probably also surprising observation that you made in Italy?
Well, I think what I found so amazing was people coming together, regardless of what populist party they were going to vote for, whether it was Five Star, whether it was the League, even some of the Forza Italia people I was talking to. Look at this as an anti-establishment, movement now, or a populist. Was that it was just the unity I saw in people saying, we don't like the way the establishment's been running the country. We don't like the way Brussels has been dictating things to us. And regardless whether they're voting for Five Star or the League or others, we look at this as a protest vote. We want things to change. And so that same type of anger and demanding change that really started with the Obama vote in 2008 in the United States. President Obama didn't bring the type of change people wanted. It was epitomized by Trump versus Clinton in 2016. You're seeing it here in Italy, and I thought it was very impressive. I thought the results were, the way I added up, is over 60% of the vote was an anti-establishment vote. So I think it's a earthquake in European politics. I think it's going to resonate throughout the world.
Also hochinteressant, ganz kurz zusammengefasst. Er zieht Parallelen zu den Wahlen in den Vereinigten Staaten, schon bei Obama. Die Leute sind unzufrieden, sie wollen einen Wechsel, they want change. Sie sind nicht zufrieden, speziell auch mit den Entwicklungen in der Europäischen Union. Sie wollen einfach eine neue politische Richtung, und das ist das, was ihn am meisten interessiert hat. Now the interesting thing is that Five Star movement, Cinque Stelle, has made a historical victory. And the Five Star movement is regarded very skeptically in Switzerland. People think this is a kind of lunatic party with this strange comedian Beppe Grillo at the top, some mixture between socialist and conservative, left-wing populism. What's your impression of this Cinque Stelle movement?
I think you're having a redefinition. It's a lot of what even the Trump movement stands for. I think you're having a redefinition of what politics is. Let's go back to last Thursday and Friday in the United States, when President Trump announced his trade, his tariffs and his what he was doing on the 232 regarding steel and aluminum. It was the Republican Party apparatus, the Republican Party intellectuals, it was the Republican Party establishment politicians that went crazy with Wall Street and said, this is terrible, it can't happen. It was Democrats like Sherrod Brown and Tim Ryan and others that came out from states like Ohio and Pennsylvania and said, hey, this is exactly what our workers need. So you're seeing, this kind of remix of what politics is. I think the five-star movement, look, anything on a shoestring budget that can get, and I think people ought to really understand that these campaigns in Italy are really kind of hand to mouth. There's not a lot of resources in back of any of them. Any group that can put a message out that can get over 30% of the vote has to be taken seriously. And I would tell the people in Switzerland, it may start as a protest vote, but they'll start to work through their policies. And by the way, when you first get going, just saying, hey, I don't want to do that, is not bad. I mean, that's what the Tea Party really started with. So, look, it's in its formative stages. The other parties have been around for decades. So I would just tell the people of Switzerland, give them time and let's see what they evolve to. Particularly, they're going to get a shot, it looks like, to put together a government. I think the first thing you'll see is how they actually do in putting that together. So I would say give them a few weeks and see what comes of it.
Also hier kurz zusammengefasst, eben die Cinque Stelle bei uns eher als etwas linkspopulistisch, fast schon sozialistisch verschrien. Für Herrn Bannon natürlich Ausdruck einer eben Proteststimmung, Umsturzstimmung. Nicht ganz klar entlang den ideologischen Linien. Man sieht das auch in den Vereinigten Staaten jetzt mit diesen Zollbeschränkungen, die beschlossen wurden durch die Trump-Administration und sein Appell, ja, man soll jetzt zuerst mal schauen und beobachten, was diese Leute in Italien dann zustande bringen. Now, Steve, you have graduated at Harvard Business School. You are which is one of the most distinguished business schools in the world. You have then worked for Goldman Sachs, a highly distinguished company, like the knighthood of banking you experienced, hugely international. And now tell me, why is a business-minded person like you, who has worked in the movie industry, has worked in the banking industry, has graduated at the most international school in the world, why are you in favor of tariffs and the tariff war that we now have between the United States and China?
First off, it's not a tariff war, and all those places taught me in the Navy how to count, right? If you can just do some basic mathematics, you understand that the steel industry in our country and our steel workers are being exploited by state-controlled steel industries throughout the world. And so in order to protect our steel industry and to protect our workers, President Trump, I think, done something very courageous. He had the Secretary of Commerce spend a year to analyze the situation, come up with a over 200-page report about the national security implications and how people have been gaming the system to destroy our steel industry. He's taken a very bold move. It doesn't mean it has to be a trade war. All that trade war talk is coming from the Financial Times, the Wall Street Journal, all the opposition party establishment, internationalist, globalist party at Davos man media that's now in high dudgeon about President Trump trying to do something that saves our steel industry. And I think it's very logical. It doesn't need to lead to a trade war, but hopefully it'll stop the abuses of people trying to ship in underpriced steel into the United States.
So if I understand you correctly, what you're saying is I'm not against international trade, but I am against the unfair gaming of the system when certain countries, for example China, start to subsidize heavily certain industries with the aim to destroy other industries. Is that correct? You're not a theological opponent of free trade.
Well, listen, I think free trade. I'm a believe in global trade and fair trade. Okay, I think free trade is a radical idea because it's countries like the United States that really don't have many protections that are crushed by mercantilist systems like China. China has 800 million tons of steel capacity. Okay, they built that in order to dominate the global market and basically to put the United States steel industry out of business from a strategic point of view. We're finally fighting back, and the financial community is in high dudgeon. This doesn't need to lead to a trade war. President Trump, I know, doesn't want this to lead to a trade war. What he wants to do is do what's right for the American steel industry, and he's doing it. And the people globally are going to have to accept that the American worker and American industry finally has somebody that's going to stand up for American industry and American workers.
Also sehr interessant. Wir haben hier etwas über den Freihandel gesprochen und das ist wirklich spannend, was er hier sagt, denn Steve Bannon ist ja ein Mann, der an der Harvard Business School studiert hat. Er war sehr international unterwegs, geschäftlich, und ich habe ihn gefragt, ob er eigentlich ein metaphysischer Gegner des Freihandels sei und warum er diese Strafzölle verteidige. Und er sagt, er sei ein Befürworter des fairen globalen Handels. Und er sei einfach der Meinung, dass es hier massive Missbräuche gebe, zum Beispiel von China, wo eben bestimmte Industrien gesponsert, subventioniert werden mit dem Ziel, die Industrien in anderen Ländern zu beschädigen. Und da sei er dagegen, also eine interessante Differenzierung. Now, my two last questions, Steve. One is the following. I mean, you are the interpreter on the one hand side, but you are also a promoter of this populist revolt. Now tell me, what are in your eyes the risks of the populist revolt? Because many people are a bit afraid, they're insecure, they think, oh, if we see guys like the guys from Cinque Stelle, they're revolutionaries, what are they going to do? Are they going to burn down the house? Where are the risks of the populist movement according to you? Because every revolution, as you well know as a good historian, every revolution, French Revolution, they can go too far. Where are the risks?
Well, look at the American Revolution, where we got our freedom. That's a revolution I would look at. I think the risk is of not going through and actually being able to put together governments. So I think the risk for people is to continue, just if you think things are going to get better, just by continuing to vote in the establishment, they're not going to get better. Your wealth is going to be continually taken from you by a central government, and you're going to have a very, very difficult time. You haven't had, a wage increase in the United States since 1970. So all you have to lose is your serfdom, right? So I don't think there's the risk is that it doesn't come to fruition. If you look at the league, and if you look at 5 Star, I don't see a lot of radical. Right now, a lot of radical solutions that they're putting forward. In fact, I would say, given Italy's economy, certain measures have to be taken to kind of rejuvenate the entrepreneurial spirit. So I think for your viewers, it is just give these folks time and pay close attention. But I think you're going to see a much more entrepreneurial approach to things in Italy, driven by the populist movement.
Also das Risiko, habe ich ihn gefragt, was ist eigentlich das Risiko dieser populistischen Bewegungen? Man hat ja Angst, dass das Haus runterbrennen könnte. Und er hat gesagt, ja gut, man müsse auch das Risiko schauen, was es bedeutet, wenn man diesen zum Teil nicht mehr funktionierenden Establishment-Parteien permanent, wenn man die an der Macht behält. Und er habe jetzt in seinen Gesprächen und seinen Beobachtungen in Italien nicht diese Radikalität erblickt, die einen mit Angst erfüllen soll. Now my last question, Steve, thanks again for granting this interview on this very sophisticated equipment.
Yeah, you told me hair and makeup was going to be there, and I don't like the way I'm lit. Yeah, no, I'm going to get a lot of complaints from my staff that I got rooked into this.
Yeah, well, the hair and makeup artist didn't make it on this car, but we will get her when we're in Zurich.
I actually look like the Grim Reaper here.
Okay. No.
You're all nicely attired. Once again.
No, you don't look like the Grim Reaper. You look like a man with a character and a charisma. Okay. Now, last question. You have been attacked fiercely also in the media, like sometimes even more than Donald Trump. I mean, to make Donald Trump look like the good guy, next one, it's really an achievement. Now, a personal question. How do you cope with that? I mean, being called the Mephistopheles, which is, as we all know, the devil, as being this right-wing extremist, pull the strings, Dr. Mabuse-like character. I mean, you have been heavily attacked. How do you cope with that?
Not just cope, I actually love it. It's honey badgers, right? Honey badger doesn't give a shit. Hopefully that can go up on your site.
That's the typical American answer. Yeah. But now please give me the honest answer.
No, the honest. No. I actually do. First off, it shows me that they're very afraid of these ideas. Yeah. As soon as they start attacking like that, it's like when I came to the campaign as CEO. The very first week, Hillary Clinton came off of the beach and attacked me as a white supremacist, a racist, a xenophobe. And I said I was in the war room at the campaign with the young team of men and women who are the rapid response. I said, if that's going to be her response to our campaign, we're going to beat her if she goes to identity politics. So anytime they're trying to smear you, that means they're afraid to engage in the ideas. And I know our ideas are very powerful. Remember, economic nationalism doesn't care about your race, your color, your ethnicity, your gender, your religion, your sexual preference. What it cares about is that you're a citizen, right? A citizen of Italy or a citizen of the United States. And so I think these ideas are so powerful, they want to attack. And I actually get strength from the attacks because I know that once they're attacking me in those areas, they're afraid of everything else. And so it's I actually quite enjoy it.
Are you a racist or are you not?
Well, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's doesn't even need to be answered. I've got thousands of hours of radio, all of Breitbart. They've never been able to find anything racist in my radio or anything like that. I come from actually a very humble blue collar family. That was our family was from a mixed race neighborhood, a predominantly black neighborhood in Richmond, Virginia. And my family never ran out to the white suburbs. I always went to schools that were integrated, and I was raised in a neighborhood that was integrated and had a great experience. And so it's I normally find that people throwing the racist tags are people that have never lived in integrated neighborhoods or never really had to to live together as people. And so no, I'm very proud of every action I've taken, and I tell people, hey, if you've seen anything I've ever written, anything I've ever said, anything on all the thousands of hours of radio I've ever done that's racist, come and bring it to me. I want to see it.
Well, Steve, thank you very much for this candid conversation here in the on the road with the Weltwoche. Thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow at the public event in Zurich. Many thanks.
Great. Thanks for having me here in Switzerland. Look forward to the speech tomorrow night.